Now it's time to crack that throttle and let's get this show on the road.
Welcome to Motorcycle Madhouse, episode 37. I'm James Hollywood Machikari, and today's show is going to be a special edition where I'll be talking on the subject of the news that Iron Hoarder Motorcycle Club civil case in Pennsylvania was just dismissed. We're going to try and hit this subject from all angles and all sides. We also will be addressing an email we received on this case. So, with that, let's get her going.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Don't want to fuck with.
Your mouth all glued up with Connie juice, I asked you a question.
Oh my God, this girl's really turning me on.
Suck me sideways.
Are you gonna pull those pistols and whistle Dixie?
Hollywood's Motorcycle Madhouse on iHeartRadio.
A Philadelphia grand jury, or no, actually not a grand jury, but a jury, has awarded nearly $10 million to the family of a woman killed during a scuffle with members of a motorcycle club outside of Reading area restaurant. According to the records, a jury last week awarded $9.7 million to the estate of Tanya Falk, who had been fatally struck by a SUV during a melee that occurred in June of 2015. The fight involved several members of the Iron Order Motorcycle Club. Although the club had been one of several defendants sued, the club had been let out of the case at the end of trial after it filed a motion for compulsory non-suit. That decision has been appealed. McLaughlin attorney Slade McLaughlin, who is representing Falk, said the case was unique because it had to be tried in the Criminal Justice Center rather than City Hall for security reasons. He also said he plans to continue to pursue liability against the motorcycle club. Quote, "The client will not have achieved full justice until the Iron Motorcycle Club, or the Iron Order Motorcycle Club, which is responsible for the actions of its members." Now, get that. Which is responsible for the actions of its members, according to the plaintiff's attorney, is held accountable and liable for the death of Tanya Falk. McLaughlin said in a statement, "We have filed post-trial motions this week, and we will see this case through all appeals to the very end. The client's needless death deserves nothing less." Now, before I go on with the rest of this thing from Law Review, you notice what they're after. They're after which is responsible for the actions of its members, meaning a motorcycle club. Brian Grady of Elliott Greenleaf, who represented the Iron Order Motorcycle Club, said there was no evidence that the club had anything to do with the fight. The judge was right on the money with the law. We're extremely comfortable with the rulings he made, Grady said. According to the pretrial memo of Brendan Bollinger, who is the administrator of Falk's estate, on June 19th, 2015, Falk and her fiancé arrived at Anna's barbecue pit near Reading to meet friends for dinner. The memo said several members of the Iron Order Motorcycle Club began to accost them verbally and physically. Although the two attempted to leave, the members followed them into the restaurant's parking lot where the conflict escalated, the memo said. The memo said Falk's fiancé was wrestled to the ground where the members of the club began to pummel him. Falk tried to help her fiancé, but one of the club members named Timothy Martin allegedly punched her in the face, which knocked her backward and into the side of a moving SUV, the memo said. According to the memo, the vehicle crushed Falk's skull. Falk's estate sued the restaurant on an alleged negligence and drama shop violations. She also sued the Iron Order Motorcycle Club and several members of the club involved in the fight on claims that they were negligent and reckless. The plaintiff also made wrongful death and survivorship claims. The memo noted that at the time of her death, Falk was a stay-at-home mother of 2 minor children and was studying to be a mental health professional. The memo also said the plaintiff's medical expert, Wayne Ross, planned to testify that Falk was conscious when the vehicle ran over her head, and that she remained alive for a few minutes afterward. According to court records, Anna's barbecue pit joined Falk's fiancé and the SUV driver in the lawsuit. However, according to court records, Anna's barbecue pit entered an undisclosed settlement prior to the trial. In its pretrial memo, the Iron Order Motorcycle Club contended that Falk's fiancé had instigated previous altercations with its members, and that Falk and her fiancé had instigated the fight that resulted in Falk's death. The memo also said it has little control over its local chapters regarding who can become a member and how the chapters are run or managed. A pretrial memo filed by the defendants Douglas and Gottschall, who are Iron Order members involved in the fight, also said Falk's fiancé had instigated the fight. The memo further said Falk's fiancé pushed Laree Gottschall, who is Douglas's Gottschall's wife, in the face during the fight, and that both were not near Falk when she was knocked into the SUV. The memo also said Falk punched Martin several times before he struck her. At the time the trial ended, Martin and the Gottschalls were the only defendants on the verdict sheet. A default judgment has been entered against Martin. The jury found them liable and awarded $3.7 million in damages, as well as $2 million on the wrongful death claim and $1.7 million on the survivor claim. The jury also found Martin 50% liable and each Gottschall 25% liable. Stephen Shirley and Hone, who represented Anna's Barbecue Pit, and Daniel Ruckett of Rowell and Henderson, who represented the Gottschalls, each did not return a call for comment. Martin did not have an attorney during trial, and the legal was unable to find contact information on him. The information from law.com, a website that keeps up with the major cases happening nationwide, is where I got this. So, let's dive deep into this, because I know a lot of people on both sides of the issue is chomping at the bit. Personally, I find it regrettable that the Iron Order was the named club in this case, and here's why. Iron Order isn't the most popular club out there, and with that being said, this was a huge test case for the motorcycle club scene. Many people do not realize that this case was a test case for the rest of the motorcycle club scene, like I just said. And you heard earlier where the plaintiff's attorney said that the motorcycle club as a whole was responsible for the actions of one of its members. You know, that goes to the very question of this case. And that's what they wanted to prove. A national motorcycle club was responsible civilly as an organization for the actions of one of its members. Now, since Iron Order was the named club in this case, many couldn't put aside and see the bigger picture. This case has ramifications for the Hells Angels, the Outlaws, Banditos, Mongols, and every single club that rides. This case could have been a potent weapon in the arsenal of the federal government. To further explain what I'm talking about, let's talk about Al Capone for a second. The government couldn't get him on anything criminally. What they were able to do was get him on income tax evasion. What's this example have to do with this whole biker stuff in this case in Pennsylvania? The point is, the government uses multiple ways of going after a target. If they cannot get who they are trying to get through investigation, they will think outside the box and use all the means possible that they have to get an organization. I know, I already hear the question coming. Well, how is it possible for the feds to sue civilly if they're not party to the suit? My answer is simple. Do you really think it's outside of the federal government to urge someone to sue a motorcycle club if it helps them achieve their long-standing goal of taking one down? If you think about it from the angle of costs, especially going after a national motorcycle club, you have the cost of the investigation, man hours, liability to undercover agents and CIs, rats, and that's just the beginning. After an indictment is obtained by a grand jury, now you have the cost of a trial, which will run into the millions on top of the investigation costs. And depending on the RICO case brought forward, it could be hundreds of millions of dollars. So, wouldn't it be more cost effective for the government to take the club out civilly in court? Think about it. In this case, the plaintiffs were awarded $9.5 million. This from, insurance companies, and half of it they'll probably never see because guys that were responsible, the 50% and 25%, they're never going to be able to pay it. So, think about if a motorcycle club was thrown into the mix, if it had a judgment awarded against them. Last time I checked, a motorcycle club doesn't carry any liability insurance on its membership. Something that might actually, something people might actually want to consider after seeing this case being brought against another club, by the way. So, what does a motorcycle club have which would satisfy the judgment? Well, number one, the thing that makes a club is its logo and its name. Trademark, if you will. A lot of clubs own their own clubhouses. Granted, a lot of them are put in trusts, but again, during asset discovery, it really isn't that hard to find out what trust owns the property and turn around and go after that trust to satisfy the judgment. Starting to see the big picture yet? Let's take the club name and logo. This is already being sought after by the feds in court against the Mongols. Personally, I think this will go to the Supreme Court with them. It will be based on the same question in this case. Is the motorcycle club responsible as a whole for the action of one of its members? The Mongols case is centered around asset forfeiture in relation to a criminal activity, where the Iron Order case is centered around a wrongful death case. But anyone who is paying attention can see the same question is being asked in two different ways. All the feds need is a court to agree on the question being asked. Don't matter which way they get that answer. As long as they can get a court to agree, a motorcycle club can be held accountable for the actions of a member. If they are able to get the court to say yes, then it will be open season on motorcycle clubs. Plain and simple. Won't matter if it's a one percenter club or a mom and pop club. They will have yet another tool in their arsenal to squeeze a club out of existence. Right now, clubs are number one on the Fed's fucking list. We thought, the question was answered successfully in the Mongols case, but the government won on appeal, meaning the case goes forward. This is the reason why winning this case in Pennsylvania was so important to the club scene, no matter who the club was named in the lawsuit. In our second segment, we're going to sit there, read an email we received concerning the Iron Order Pennsylvania case, and discuss it more in depth.
Motorcycle Madhouse with James Hollywood Bachari. Now, 2 days a week. Tuesdays and Saturdays at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Listen and download all episodes for free on HarleyBikerNews.com. Or the show is available on all major podcasting platforms like iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, and more.
Hi, this is James Hollywood Machikari. Hop on over and check out our new YouTube channel where you can hear Motorcycle Madhouse and watch the Biker Angle. You can look up the new channel by going to our website, HarleyLiberty.com, or Insane Throttle Biker News in the YouTube channel search bar. Don't forget to have that prospect hit the subscribe button and that bell in the upper right hand corner so you will always be up to date with the new channel content.
Motorcycle Madhouse with James Hollywood Machikari.
Yep, good to go.
Hollywood's Motorcycle Madhouse on iHeartRadio.
Now let's take this show to the next level with our up-and-coming band segment. Remember, you can listen and download all episodes for free on HarleyBikerNews.com or available on all major podcasting platforms like iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, and more.
Looks you're getting dirty, looking at me too. Do you wanna go on a ride tonight? Switching lanes on the highway, blowing the throttle back. You know you like it when it vibrates. Kick back, grabbing over round head, ladies on the dance floor, riding downtown. Got the beer in my left, they got the shot in my right. Gonna get a little nasty and ride all night. Ride all night. Ride all night. Ride all night. Grabbing over round, hey ladies on the dance floor, riding downtown. Got the beer in my left, got the check in my right. Gonna get a little nasty and ride all night. 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 I can see your eyes from across the room. See those looks, you're getting dirty, looking at me too. Do you wanna go on a ride tonight? Switching lanes on the highway, pulling the throttle back. You know you like it when it vibrates. Kick back, grabbing over round, hey ladies on the dance floor, riding downtown. Got the beer in my left, I got the shot in my right. Gonna get a little nasty and ride all night. 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 Kick back, grabbing over round, hey ladies on the dance floor, riding downtown. Got the beer in my left, I got the check in my right. Gonna get a little nasty and ride all night. Ride all night. Ride all night. Ride all night. Ride all night.
Oh, love. Roll it up. Oh, love. Yeah. Beneath corners. Get it rock west and put your YMs in the air. One time, ready? Put them on, yeah, man, everything. Let me hear that. Yeah, man. Riding, night like street light. We anticipate red and blue and still lose sight. Party crashing, kick back bashing. Okay, late night passing my location, quick asking. We live for the moment, so take hold of. We ride some river, that's why let's get a touch. And if you're looking for a place to get lost, ride with me. So I who's a Henny and a tongue all in there.
Kick back, grabbing over round, hey ladies on the dance floor, riding downtown. Got the beer in my left, I got the shot
Motorcycle Madhouse with James Hollywood Bachari. Now, 2 days a week. Tuesdays and Saturdays at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Listen and download all episodes for free on HarleyBikerNews.com. Or the show is available on all major podcasting platforms like iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, and more.
Hi, this is James Hollywood Machikari. Hop on over and check out our new YouTube channel where you can hear Motorcycle Madhouse and watch the Biker Angle. You can look up the new channel by going to our website, HarleyLiberty.com, or Insane Throttle Biker News in the YouTube channel search bar. Don't forget to have that prospect hit the subscribe button and that bell in the upper right hand corner so you will always be up to date with the new channel content.
Motorcycle Madhouse with James Hollywood Machikari.
Yep, good to go.
Hollywood's Motorcycle Madhouse on iHeartRadio. Now everyone's favorite part of the show. James Hollywood Machikari interviews some movers and shakers throughout the biker scene. Pull up a chair, crack a beer. It's Motorcycle Madhouse's interview segment.
Hi, this is James Hollywood Machikari, and welcome back from the commercial break. And we got none other than Hollywood from one of the originals from the Glow Wrestling back in the 1980s. She's also got a big resume, appearing in a lot of films, a lot of shows, some of which include Married with Children, Jag, Entertainment Tonight, and more. But most importantly, for all you scooter tramps out there, she was the cover for the Easy Rider magazine in April of 1995. How you doing, Hollywood?
Wow, that's awesome. I'm great. Have you seen that cover of Easy Riders?
Oh, man, I have. I've seen it online, but I wish I had the real one.
You can get it. You guys just go, you know what, just go over to eBay and put that in, put Easy Riders in, and then put in that April, did we say 1995 in there? I remember doing that cover, too. That cover, that bike, because I'm tall, and then you put heels on top of that, it was a big bike. Most of the models on Easy Riders were smaller, because a lot of those choppers, some of those were really low to the ground, so they would have models that were a little bit shorter. But this bike was big. I can't tell you what the bike is. It's inside that cover somewhere, but I remember trying to step over that, to get out of that bike. Oh, yeah, it was pretty cool.
How did you go about getting contacted for the Easy Riders piece?
You know what? It was a long time ago, so forgive me. I think I just got contacted by someone. That's all I remember is being contacted because I was doing a lot of modeling after Glow, and a couple of different magazines. There was, I think, Truckin' Magazine was another one. It was just kind of something, and it might have been a photographer who knew that photographer. And I did that,
okay.
and I did that in Hollywood, and yeah, I was just like, this is going to be really cool. I have a funny story that goes with that. It's funny now, but back in the day, dating somebody, and because I did that cover, and this person rode bikes. We rode bikes all the time, and had a Harley, and he did not like that at all, and it was just like, whatever, or used it as an excuse, whatever, but made me feel so bad, and I'm like, I am not feeling bad for posing on a magazine cover. Don't make me feel that way. Yep, we ended up breaking up, and no big deal, but surely made me feel bad about doing that, and, I think probably it was an excuse to move on or something, but boy, I'm so glad that relationship ended.
Well, you know what? I can't tell you how excited we are to have you on the program. For those that don't know what Glow Wrestling is, back in the 80s, you happen to be my favorite wrestler, me being a kid, grade school, and, you got Hollywood up there with Fine, the tag team. And, yeah, you were one of my favorites on Glow Wrestling.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I enjoy doing that show. And again, you're right. People who are 30 years and younger and didn't have brothers and sisters that were older or their mom and dad didn't watch it would never know. They would think that the Glow Netflix that's on today is something new. But if you guys do your due diligence and you put in Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling or Glow, you know, we did that I started 1985, I did the pilot, and then we did the shows for 4 seasons. So it was 1986, 1987, 88, and 89. So there were 4 seasons that I did. So I basically, James, did the pilot in all 4 seasons. I'm the only one that did that. You know?
Well, there was like, what was it? I was doing research for the interview. There was like 500 women that tried out for that, didn't they?
Oh, my gosh. Yes. You know, I had a regular job because, you know, if you're trying to be an actor, actress, model, you know, those are far few and in between, so you need a day job. So I was doing my day job and went home, and, you know, back then we had a answering machine. And so I went to my answering machine, and there was this audition, and it was after work, so I could go to it. And there was a lot of girls in there. And if anybody has seen, you know, Glow Netflix, the very first episode, I believe, starts off with her hitting her answering machine and her going down basically to it looks like a little gym. Mine wasn't that. Mine was the Hyatt on Sunset in Hollywood. And I went down, and I saw all these girls with pictures and resumes in their hand. And when the promoter came out and said, this show was going to be about women's wrestling, I'm telling you, girls got up and left. And I'm thinking, what the hell do they know that I don't know? It made me nervous. I'm like, shit, what am I getting myself into? But once I went down there and started training, I'm like, this is going to be easy. And, you know, when you're in your 20s, you can do anything. You're fearless, man.
Right. Well, how close is the show Netflix to what really happened?
So it's not a carbon copy. So if anybody's watching it and you see a lot of drug use, if we even got caught doing it, we were fired. Now, whatever you did that they didn't see you do, I'm not saying that everybody there are angels, because hell no, not when you're in your 20s. You want to party and you want to do this. But you know what? They had to keep drugs and alcohol out of the picture. They show that on the show because you're really doing physical work out there, and it's so hand and eye coordination that you don't want to F up out there and hurt somebody. So what you see on TV might be, you know, inflated a little bit more, you know, but it's TV. So some things happened and some things are close. You know, we did a bunch of comedy sketches, so in season 2, you're going to see more of the girls doing their sketches. And I'm like, man, were ours that cheesy? I mean, was it that bad? And then they had some PSA commercials, and I was the only one that did a PSA commercial about drinking and driving and drugs. They wanted a bad guy, and I played a heel, so a heel is a bad guy. But they wanted a bad guy that was a little cooler, somebody that they could go, okay, well, if Hollywood's saying it, it's cool. You know, and again, this is way back in the 80s, so, you know, things are different. But I love the show, and you know, like I said, it's not a carbon copy, but there are some funny moments. And Mark Maron, who plays the director guy, he's hilarious. He's so freaking funny, you know. And Allison Brie, who plays Ruth Wilder, that plays the Zoya, the Destroyer. She's awesome, man. You know, Betty Gilpin's in it, playing Debbie Egan, soap opera queen. Like, they're all good. All of them are all of the actors that are in.
Now, how is the director that's playing him now? Was he about close to him? About how he was with his movie streaks?
I would think ours was even more. I don't want to use the word sleazy, but I would like to use the word harder. Those girls, you can see that they really aren't afraid of him at all. They're more his pal. And our director was like, he was, you know, from movies, kind of like Mark Maron is too, doing his little B movies. So that's similar. But our guy was hardcore. I don't want to call him an asshole, but at times you were just like, Can we cuss on this? I wanted to know.
Oh, yeah, you can. Go ahead.
What the fuck, man, dude? You know? I wanted to ask you.
Well, the guy on the Netflix show seemed like a real prick to the girl.
Okay.
He kind of pisses you off.
No, Mark Maron does a great job, and I love his character. He is a prick, but our guy took the cake. I'm like, man, I would have rather worked with a cooler dude like Mark Maron than our dude. Our director was not nice. He was mean, but you know what? Towards my third and fourth season, once I got how he was and he knew me, I was getting away with a lot. That's all I have to say. I was getting away with a lot of stuff just because I paid my dues already. But, you know, when you're 22, 23, 24, do you really want someone going, oh, you have to be in at midnight. We're out at, you know, going to see live bands, you know, or clubs. Right. And I remember one of the situations I ran into somebody and they said, come and hang in our limo, and then we're going to go hang at Caesars. So I'm in the limo, and one of the other girls comes over to, like, tell me that we have curfew, we have to leave. And I'm thinking, don't embarrass me in front of this dude, please, please don't. And she looks at me and knocks on the limo window. She goes, I'm leaving. And I looked at her, I'm like, goodbye. And I hung up, and she's like, oh, my God, Holly was going to get in so much trouble for, you know, not making curfew, but I was too embarrassed to go, I have to leave. I have curfew. So I got, I got in a lot of trouble for that, but I hated those rules. So, you know, I bended those rules as much as I could.
Now, you actually started out as a medical assistant phlebotomist, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah, phlebotomist. That's someone who draws blood. You know, we use that as my character. Now I draw blood in the ring, you know, as a heel.
Right.
But yeah, I did. I had medical, but that's not, you know, and I was in the medical field right after high school. So from 18 to 21, that's what I was doing. And then I got this call for GLOW, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. We did the pilot in 1985. We took it to, it's called NAPI. It's buyers to buy the shows for syndication. They bought it. And they called me the end of January and said, pack your bags. You're going to be doing the shows in April in Las Vegas. And I moved to Vegas, and that was it. I've been doing wrestling ever since.
Oh, that's you know what? You have been doing wrestling ever since, and, you know, my son, you know, God, I'm old now, but my 15-year-old loves the WWE.
Oh, I bet.
It's a lot different than what it was in the 80s when I was growing up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For those youngins who ride right now that listen to my show, for those probably under 30, how would you describe the scene back in the 80s compared to what it is now?
I think it's a lot cooler. Let me just say, the 80s, first of all, the music, and anybody, I'm talking about, I'm not talking about pop, I'm talking about Motley Crue, and I'm talking about the Scorpions, and and Rat, and Ozzy, and Kiss. Well, Kiss was even earlier, though, because I like their 70s stuff.
Iron Maiden. You got Iron Maiden in there.
Oh, my God. You know, and we would go to clubs, and just the scene and the vibe was great in the 80s, and you know,
I often say I'm stuck in the 80s because that's all I listen to is the 80s rock and all that stuff.
Too. I do the same thing, and I like XM radio. I can't help it. I've got to listen to Ozzy's Boneyard and, you know, the different ones, and so I'm stuck too myself, but that just brings back good times. So when I hear that music, I'm just thinking about when I'm 20 years old, you know, in my 20s, and motorcycles, that's a whole nother thing. Dating a couple of guys who had Harleys. We had no helmets, no helmet law in California, which is crazy just because, you know, the way we drive or the way they drive in California. I mean, I didn't know how, you know, I'd get on a bike and I'd look around. I'm like, hell, this person can even see us. What the fuck, you know? So I'm telling you, when I'm driving, I make sure to, you know, turn your head, people. Don't look in your mirrors. You look in your mirrors, but you have to turn your head. That person could be just right there, right there in your blind spot. Watch.
Mm-hmm. It was a lot more freewheeling back in the 80s, I think.
It was
a lot better time.
Oh, my God, yes.
Wasn't so PC, I think.
Yeah, I have great times in the clothes that we wore, and the music videos.
Oh, yeah.
Remember all those music videos? Remember the Cat Club? And I was in Hollywood, so I grew up with all of it. And the interesting thing is going to see some of those guys, which were my friends. I'd go to see my friends' bands play, and then to see some of them in bands today, like Eric Singer, who's been the drummer in Kiss for the longest time. Well, I knew Eric when God, we were so young. I met him, I think, in 1985. No, earlier than that, probably 84. And he was doing a drumathon, and it's cool to see different people, and Tommy Thayer as well. Tommy Thayer, they were playing the And then the right. Touring today is it's very cool.
Well, people actually don't know. Back in the 80s, the way the scene was, because the LA scene had its own scene. You had Rat, and, you had the crew out there. Yep. And then you had your English bands like Ozzy and Dio and all them. We had a scene back then. Unlike today.
We did have a scene. Don Dokken will always be over at FM stations. He had Dokken, and and I remember though, Gene and Paul coming into a small club to check out Tommy Thayer's band back then. And I remember Gene Simmons looking at me, and I'm like, I'm staying away from Gene. He's like, young lady, why are you ignoring us? Why are you ignoring us? And the ironic thing is I know him now because actually it's very funny how things work out. He has a solo band right now. Gene's solo band is on tour. My boyfriend actually is one of the 3 guitar players that is in the Gene Simmons solo band. Tonight, actually, they are in Vienna playing in a little while. But it's just interesting how things just work out, how things are just, people come back into your lives and you're just thinking, I don't want to talk to him. He scares me. And then all of a sudden, you're friends.
Right? Man, that's cool stuff right there. Now, one of your main competitors you were the heel on the show, but was the Farmer's Daughter, wasn't it?
Yeah, the I'm a heel. We had 3 Farmer's Daughters, but the very first one, you did your due diligence well here.
Was
the Farmer's Daughter. Let me explain. Sally, the Farmer's Daughter, we realized that her and I had gone to the same high school. I was 3 years older than her, so I didn't see her when she came in. And back then, it was 10, 11, 12th grade, so she probably was in 9th grade when I graduated from high school. But we found out that we went to the same high school. We knew the same people. So when her and I got in the ring, I'm telling you, the animosity that we had for each other or the jealousy or whatever the heck it was, because I wanted to win and she wanted to win, and it was just amped up,
right.
Huge. So when you saw us fighting, those were pretty real.
It was real stuff.
I'm telling you, that shit was real. And they knew it, and they knew that they would get great matches because they'd go again. Hollywood, you're wrestling Sally the Farmer's Daughter. I'm like, oh, not again. I had to work really hard wrestling her. And she was a great character, just, an awesome character. But those scenes are pretty damn real.
Pretty damn real.
Well, you know what? Don't like each other.
You came in with no previous wrestling experience. How was it getting used to, learning the moves and, getting your body in shape? Because that's some hard stuff right there.
It is. When people go, oh, it's fake. Well, no. When someone picks you up, a 350-pound wrestler, and throws you down on the ground, that is real. You have to land, and you have to land properly. So we did training. When I trained, there's a wrestler named Mondo Guerrero, and he is pretty huge in the scene. Chavo Guerrero right now is training the ladies from Glow Netflix. That would be his nephew. But back when I was training, it was Mondo Guerrero, and you know what, you guys, you just have to learn how to fall, land, drop kicks. you were beat up. So when I'm learning, I'm trying to work my 8 to 5 job, okay, and then learn how to wrestle. This is before we had done the pilot. So I'm wrestling at night from 7 to 10 p.m., Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and I'm going back to work in the morning, and my body is killing me. I'm like, oh, my God, my shoulders. Oh, I can't even, move. But it's just conditioning. And it's a lot of conditioning and learning how to do those moves. The first thing that you have to learn, can I just tell you, how to somersault, how to do a somersault. Some people can't do that. They'll go do a forward roll, and they'll go to the side. That is so important. If you can do a forward roll, then that's pretty. That's part of it. You got to tuck your chin down to your chest, and protect your neck all the time. Hardcore stuff.
How long did the shoots usually last? How long did you, was it a 8-hour day, 12-hour day?
Yeah, it was definitely, I think, at least 8 hours. This is what we did. We had to put matches together. They would let us put our own matches together. So we put the matches together. Then on Friday we would have a dress rehearsal, and that dress rehearsal would have the cameraman watching this, because we had like 4 camera crew. Then on Saturday would be the live matches. So I think the audience would get in by 2:00, and we'd go, I don't know, 8 or 9 at night. And sometimes it wasn't one match. It was 3 matches and a battle royale. So that was something that you had to remember all your matches. You're writing them down, and that time we would write our stuff down. We didn't do any freestyle. They would make us write every hold down. Now, the way I wrestled after that and today is freestyle, I freestyle it, might have a middle and then an ending. But, you do that because they were trying to cut down on injuries. A lot of people got injured. No, I did not get injured during my time.
Well, who are you wrestling with now?
You know what? I have my own company called Hollywood Productions, and I will wrestle different women from different places. There were some NXT women. Jessie Bell is one of them. And I'll do some wrestling matches. I'll do custom wrestling matches. By last week, actually, I worked for a company called ASW, All-Star Wrestling, here in Lewisburg, Tennessee. Actually, I drove out there. And Jarrett, Jeff Jarrett's father was out there, and Bobby Eaton was out there, and some of the local talent. So I was just there for a meet and greet. I had no idea, not planned, that I would get inside the ring. So I can still get in the ring, but I'm not going to be doing these hardcore hurricanranas off the third rope and stuff like that. But I still got the groundwork down real well. But I did do a little bit of some in and out stuff last Saturday, so I continue to do it. And like I said,
we got to get you back in the ring with the farmer's daughter.
Yeah, maybe. As long as I'll be nice. I'll just say yes. Okay. Sure, why not?
Now, is it still like
trouble? You know why? She would be in a lot of trouble because I've been wrestling for the last 30 years and she has not. So, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm in.
There you go. Now, is it still like the old days where it's a regional, or has McMahon and the WWE took it to where it's like you're either in or you're out now? Because I know in the old days it used to be regional for wrestlers.
Territories.
Right.
Yeah. Well, then you have Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins that's got NWA. So you've got NWA, and you have the WWE, and I'm not quite sure if there are any other ones. But, there's different wrestling, but he's the main, WWE's the main, he's the main dude, for sure.
Have you trained any of the divas?
I've not trained any of the divas. They have their own training camps, that they have. And they're separate. WWE is just a separate, huge entity. You're in or you're out. When they came to my area, I was right in the middle of a broken leg. Now, I didn't get injured in Glow, but later on, somewhere around 1998, I had someone, an accident happen, but she was not trained in pro wrestling. She was a jiu-jitsu type of wrestler, and she put me in this hold. I had her in a headlock. She took her leg, wrapped it around my knee, hooked it at the ankle, and started pulling. And I'm like, I'm not looking. Oh, yeah. And her legs were way bigger and stronger than me. And my leg, I tried to get out of it, and it cracked in 3 places. I broke my leg, kid bib, 3 places. Here comes WWE a month, 2 later. I'm hobbling to the interview, but, you know, they were asking me all kinds of questions. I was hiding my leg. I didn't want people to see it atrophied, so I wore sweatpants, you know. And then they started asking me questions, who trained you? I'm like, Mondo, and they're like, yay! And, you know, and then I just said, oh, I'm right in the middle of a broken leg. They're like, see ya. Bye-bye.
Yeah, just tossed you to the side.
I was kind of through with it then, though, too. I was like, man, I've been wrestling for so many years nonstop. I want a break. I just want to party. And that's what I thought. I wanted to just kick back. And those 4 years that I was wrestling, I couldn't do that. You know, I couldn't hang with my friends. I couldn't go out and do the things that I really wanted to do because I was training. And at that point, I'm like, I just want to be free right now. So I don't care if I don't get this or not. You know, so.
Well, during Glow, you actually got your union cards, and you went on to do some shows. You know, what was your favorite one you got to do?
So my favorite ones, before I started getting into the stunt work, was Married with Children. That I loved, and that show, and that will repeat. That's episode season 4, number 17, and it's hilarious. It's a 2-parter. I'm sure people have seen it before. Then I worked on little stuff. When I started doing stunt work, JAG was great because what they needed is they wanted girls who weren't afraid to shoot guns, and I'm not afraid to pick up a gun and shoot. So that was pretty fun actually. And the stunt work I loved. You know, there was older stuff too. There was some other things that we did. God, I'm trying to remember. You know, In Living Colors, and, you know, I played a girl named Cindy in the Larry Sanders Show, but, you know, those were a long time ago. But the newer things that I've been doing, I've done a couple of voiceovers and a little bit of acting on a friend's film in New York just last week. I played like a New Jersey chick, and who's pretty hardcore, and I had to have the accent down, and, you know, stuff like, what do you want, you fucko? You know, weird stuff like that. But, you know.
Well, you do own Holly. It's actually called Hollywood with WOULD Productions, and that's your company now, correct?
Yeah, I've had that since like 1996. So what I did is I produced wrestling videos. Really, you know, if people have ideas, what they do is they submit them to me. I look and they'll say, I want Hollywood against so and so, and I make sure that it's, you know, something cool to do. We're not doing things we don't want to do. It's all up and up, and I produce them, give it to them, and then I sell it on the internet for download. So
okay. Now, where can they? Let's plug you in there for the website. Where do they send a request to?
You know, whatever's easiest to remember. Is Twitter easier for everybody? You can get a hold of me at Glow Hollywood, GLOWHOLLYWOOD, the correct way. You know, they can email me too. I could say that, jmbstunts@gmail.com. You know, and then there's Facebook. I always call Facebook the old people's thing, Hollywood Productions. And then there's Instagram, you guys, official Glow Hollywood. So if you can remember official Glow Hollywood or at Glow Hollywood, just give me a quick text there, or you know, and I will set you up. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, my other favorite one was Son-in-Law. We played Mike Rushers in the Son-in-Law with Pauly Shore. Yeah.
Oh, Pauly Shore. Oh man, I love that one. Well, with Pauly Shore, man, I usually light up the doobies, man. That's how I watch Pauly Shore.
There you go. Exactly. He's exactly right. Hollywood. He always goes, are you going to come and visit me, Hollywood? Oh, I'm like, no, I'm not going to your house alone. No way.
I love Pauly Shore's. You know what? He's pretty cool, man. He's a freewheeler and stuff like that. And his movies are pretty cool.
They are cool. So first 30 minutes in the son-in-law, it's me, Lightning, and who is past Mountain Fiji, who's in the scene.
Uh-huh.
Yes, so for those who would like to see it, it's the first 30 minutes of that movie.
Awesome. Well, you know what? It's been a real honor, and it's been a pleasure talking with you. You know what? It's actually, like I said, I grew up watching you, and, to be able to talk to your favorite wrestler and stuff like that means a lot. But
thank you so much for having me on.
Before we go, do you actually have any contact with, are they portraying you in the new series?
Oh, no, they are not. They just said that they couldn't have any of the Glow wrestlers because of the legal. And I'm like, what legal? Man, it would be so cool to do a cameo on there and then give some input of the stories the stuff that we went through. It would be great, but no, and they got a lot of it from the Glow documentary. So there was a Glow documentary that came out in 2012. That's on Netflix. You guys should watch that first before you watch the TV show Glow Netflix. Then you get a little taste of what we did and who we were, and then watch Glow Netflix, and then text me from
Well, I gotta say, man, that's bogus, because you girls were the best. How did you not have Hollywood on Netflix? They bogus.
But they're doing a great job. They're doing a good job, too, and it's exciting, and it just brings more notoriety back to us. And so, I mean, I'm loving the Glow Netflix. We always do Comic-Con, so Rhode Island Comic-Con, Stanley, it's coming up for us. And a possible biography is coming out that I'm working on, and so everything is cool. It's it takes a little time, but I wouldn't change anything for the life of me. Nothing.
Man, it sounds like you had a hell of a time. And for all those that want to get a hold of Hollywood, she's going to have banners all over our main sites and through our articles, so you guys will be able to, email her and stuff like that, ask her questions, buy some material, and most of all, support my favorite wrestler, you tramps. So,
Thank you.
They better get out there and support you. But, you know what, what's your real name, by the way, is Janine, ain't it?
My first name is Jeannie, last name Bassone. Jeannie Bassone.
There you guys go. So if you need to look it up, there you guys go.
And if you're planning on wrestling young kids, can I just say, if you're planning on wanting to be a wrestler, you never know. Can I just say something? Have plan B. Go to school first. Go to school, learn something, and then get into wrestling. Always have plan B going on. Just have to.
Because it's real competitive sport now.
You don't want to be like the wrestler. Bless their hearts. I mean, and those people, bless their hearts, they are an actor. They are a stuntman. They're doing everything. It's a hard life going from it is. So have plan B, make life a little bit easier.
I don't know. I have to say, though, I like Glow better than the Divas. The Divas bore me. So,
well,
the Glow was a lot more fun.
Glow, there wouldn't be the Divas, and if there wasn't the pioneers before me, I wouldn't be here. So, you know what? We have to think. I got to think the pioneers, before me, and without us, there wouldn't be the Divas. And I have to thank all the Joni Mae Youngs and the Penny Banners. The Moolahs, all those people. They came ahead. So,
there you go.
Yep, they came before. So we have to thank them first, and then you can thank Glow, and then there's the Bella Twins and all of them.
Well, I appreciate you having you on, and it was, like I said, it was real fun talking to you, and I'll make sure I get all your stuff up so people can get a hold of you.
You are awesome. It was great to talk to you. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. You take care now.
All right, dear. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey there, this is Hollywood from the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, and you're listening to Hollywood on Motorcycle Madhouse. Want to keep up with all my projects? Then head on over to my Twitter account at Glow Hollywood. And don't forget to listen to Motorcycle Madhouse every Tuesday and Saturday on all iTunes, iHeartRadio, and all major podcasting platforms.
Hi, this is James Hollywood Machikari, host of Motorcycle Madhouse and the Biker Angle over on YouTube. If you're looking for up-to-date biker news, then Insane Throttle is the place to be! Daily editorials and news that is dedicated to the biker scene. Come on over and join the #1 internet biker news site at HarleyLiberty.com. Or come on over to the Insane Throttle's new YouTube channel for the Biker Angle, hosted by myself. Validus Throttle and Validus Fitness custom clothing line is bringing the motorcycle and fitness culture together. Be heard and stand out in the crowd with our custom apparel and clothing. If we don't have what you're looking for, we'll bring your ideals to life. We're also proud sponsors of Motorcycle Madhouse on Insane Throttle. Check us out on www.outoftheboxclothingandproductsllc.com. We have great feedback and we'll do our best to keep it that way.
Hey riders, this is Little Brother Trucker from Stormkicker, and you're listening to Hollywood on Motorcycle Madhouse. Want to hear more of iTunes? Head on over to stormkicker.com. And don't forget, ride on.
Hollywood's Motorcycle Madhouse on iHeartRadio.
How cool was that? Hollywood, one of the original wrestlers from Glow. I used to watch her as a kid on TV all the time. It was a hell of a show. It's, you know what, a different decade, but it was a fun show. And go over to her Twitter account or visit the website she has set up and you can learn more about her. I know I was going to talk about the email we received concerning that Iron Order stuff with the court case, but we're out of time right now, so I'll probably have to get to it the next episode or the episode after that. But we appreciate you joining the Motorcycle Madhouse. And Saturday, we got an interview with Exit 27. You know, they're a pretty good up-and-coming band. But, you know what? For now, that's all I got, man. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Motorcycle Madhouse. Don't forget to go over to Insane Throttle's new YouTube channel and check me out over on Biker Angle. Also get your daily dose of biker news every morning at HarleyLiberty.com. If you haven't done so already, go like the new Motorcycle Madhouse Facebook page. And until next week, I'm James Hollywood Machikari, and remember, keep that throttle cracked wide open.